So, I think there's a very interesting question I think you've got to ask, and I think you have to ask it because it's important. And that question is has Antifa been successful? And I think that answer to that question is yes. It has been very successful. Let's take from Charlottesville. Now, there were Antifa protests before that. But at Charlottesville, what was meant to be the alt-right's day of victory, meant to be their big PR event that would catapult them even to further more, shall we say, prodigious heights, instead turned into the worst PR disaster for them ever. Now, not only that, shall we say there were a couple of other people on that day who were live streaming who have since taken down their streams. Now, if you want to go see why they've taken down those streams, I would go watch a guy called Sean, and he talks about the truth, Charlottesville, the true alt-right. And basically he goes through the entire timeline of that day, through both those live streams and the one that was taken down, not for any mysterious reasons, but, well, watch the video and you'll see why. Now, from that point, Antifa, the protests against them, only got bigger, while the alt-right, shall I say, protests got smaller. Richard Spencer recently cancelled his speaking tour because of these protests. And other alt-right protests either get cancelled at the last minute, or they go ahead and their crowd size is dwarfed by the amount of counter-protests. Now, this is exactly what we did in the UK to the BNP, the EDL, Britain First, and probably next, whoever it's going to be next. But that's essentially what you've got to do. And all these protests went off incredibly well. You look at Germany, where Antifa operates more and does even more bigger protests. Do they do violence? Yes, they do violence. I'm not going to dispute that. But they also do a lot of other just, protesting against these guys. And guess what? It works. These guys have gone from having somewhat of a large following to now people just don't turn up at the events because the crowd size, the counter protest just dwarfs theirs. That's what literally used to happen to the EDL. The EDL used to show up, and it went from being protests of about 500 for them maybe down to about 100, and the police didn't so much have to, the police had to form a cordon just around the EDL protesters, because the crowd, the counter protests were just that much bigger, and this is why these guys in real life now can't organise. So now they've slunk back onto the internet, and that's probably where they're going to stay, because they've realised that they really don't have the support they needed in real life to now, actually gain some support or momentum. So what has to happen now is that Antifa has to take their protest styles onto the internet. Just go on these guys' forums and, go on these guys' forums and streams and just start doing your protest on there. Chase them off the internet, or just even deeper into the internet. That's basically the next stage of what these protests, I think, might take shape or form as. I don't know. It might do. But yeah, has Antifa been successful in getting rid of, the alt-right and the neo-Nazis that have come out of the woodwork? Absolutely. There's no question about that. Yes, Antifa has been successful.